Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on bail. The judge cited Diddy's history of violent temper and potential intimidation of witnesses as reasons for keeping him behind bars. Diddy's former protege, singer Aubrey O'Day, is celebrating Diddy's downfall today. I feel validated, a win for women all over the world.
Combs has pled not guilty. Those were the only words he or
The FBI discovered on Diddy's private island will astound you. We're talking about concealed cameras that captured more drama than a reunion of actual housewives, and secret chambers that would have made James Bond envious at high noon. People on the street claim that Diddy's paradise is more shaded than a palm tree. What if I told you that everything you believed to be true about celebrity vacations was really a huge lie? Let me tell you about this so-called Paradise Island. Buckle UPC considers this tea extremely hot. The wall is up against the girl. You believe it's all pom-poms and expensive beverages. Think again. This location isn't what it looks, and the FBI just revealed everything. Imagine a tropical retreat where the wealthy and famous go to get away. Oh, doesn't that sound good in any case? Diddy was marketing clear water, white sand beaches, and all the privacy money you can buy. But in actuality, it's messier than a kid using finger. The FBI didn't just show up for a beach day, honey. They came in hot, and what they found is enough to make your hair stand on end. We're talking about secret rooms that aren't on any floors, hidden spots tucked away in every corner of that island, and places where you could do anything. No one would know, or so they thought. On top of that, they say there are cameras in unexpected places, like bedrooms, bathrooms, and even by the pool. It's like Big Brother. But the streets are claiming that these cameras have captured all sorts of messy things that would make even the most ardent tabloid writers
Covered cameras
blush.
everywhere, I mean.
1 week since the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy is now at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a place that's been described as hell on earth. Fox 6's Lisa Evers is at MDC right now on Diddy's life behind bars. Lisa, what are you finding out tonight?
Well, Natasha and Steve, for the first time in his life, Sean Diddy Combs has spent a week behind bars. He's here inside MDC, where he's been since his arrest on Monday night, and other charges, to all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section, there is no concierge, only conmen, killers, and kingpins. MDC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial. So bad, I was here 2 years ago during a cold spell, reporting on detainees with no heat, pounding on windows for help. There was even a congressional inquiry. But take the word of a former inmate I spoke with who goes by Esco.
It's terrible. The food is terrible. Of course, the inmates are terrible. The guards are terrible. The conditions are terrible. It's just terrible.
the inmates that you're surrounded around just in general, a lot of them are brought up on pretty heavy federal indictments, right? So just in terms of the atmosphere there, it's just certainly one that no one wants to be in.
Combs was placed in a special housing unit and on suicide watch, the standard protocol for high-profile celebrity detainees. The disgraced mogul was denied bail by 2 separate judges. His attorney, Mark Agnifilo, asked the court to transfer him to the federal detention section at the Essex County Jail, but the judge deferred to the Bureau of Prisons. Federal trial attorney Philip Hamilton says lockdown can mean a lot less time to prepare your defense.
In terms of fighting their case, it just makes it all the more difficult, because now in terms of you being able to communicate with your attorney, you are at the realms of just what's going on with respect to the facility. Is it on lockdown? Is the facility letting visitors in?
Detainees on suicide watch wear tearaway paper hospital-style garments and rubber shower shoes. The isolation may be the worst part for Combs. It's being done for his protection in the violence-prone facility. He will have no bunkie.
He's probably not going to have any contact with any other inmates. So for him, it's going to be a little different than for a person like me, where I will go in, I will go through process and intake, and then they'll assign me a cell, and I'll have a bunkie or a cellmate, and I'll be in population.
For him to be able to get out at this point, it just doesn't look good.
Now, we reached out to Combs' attorney but did not get a response. We also reached out to the Bureau of Prisons. They confirmed to us that Combs is in fact detained here at MDC. For how long remains to be seen. We're live at MDC in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News.
You know how they say that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas? But on this island, everything that happens is recorded. And some of those recordings are hotter than asphalt in August. Now, I'm hearing rumors about crazy parties that make your grandma faint. We're talking about the kind of stuff that gets you kicked out of Vegas, if you understand what I mean. Politicians making agreements that aren't entirely legal. CBS doing things that ruin their careers more quickly than you can say cancel culture. And let's not even talk about the billionaires the FBI is just getting started, but it looks like this island has more secrets than a teenager's phone. They're searching everywhere like it's Black Friday at the mall, turning every rock, opening every closet, and exposing every secret room. If you think that's bad, wait until you hear what else they found, because this island isn't just about parties and privacy. It's looking more and more like a whole operation, and we're just scratching the surface of this mess.
Sean Diddy Combs raided by the feds today. They're investigating poor conditions, rampant and repeated inmate deaths.
Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles live at the scene in Sunset Park with what's really going on there. Darla.
Well, Bill, the Bureau of Prisons will only say this is an interagency operation to maintain a safe environment, but sources tell ABC News that inmates are not the target, and attorneys who've been seeing clients here for years say the timing is very curious.
None of these issues are revelations that all of a sudden, oh my goodness, we need to go and address them.
Early Monday morning, staffers at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn met by dozens of federal agents and drug-sniffing dogs in search of any illegal items being smuggled inside.
One is left to wonder, is it the publicity, from those of notoriety, those well-known that are trying to get out of there?
I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and I believe inhumane housing conditions.
Sean Combs and crypto mogul Sam Bankman-Fried are currently being held at MDC in Sunset Park, but it's where other high-profile inmates like R. Kelly, Michael Cohen, Fetty Wap, and farmer bro Martin Scarelli were lodged at one point in time.
There is constant violence. I have with me right now memo after memo after memo as to lockdowns. I can't tell you how many times I go to visit a client and I'm turned away because there's either an emergency count or there's an emergency lockdown.
In September, 9 inmates at MDC were indicted for violent crimes, including 2 murders inside the facility. 7 staff members have been arrested on a range of crimes, from accepting bribes to providing contraband in the last 5 years. And in 2019, the Department of Justice sought an investigation into a power and heat outage at MDC that lasted more than a week in the dead of winter.
I visit clients at other federal facilities, and I don't see this.
Now, this interagency operation could last for several days. Reporting live in Sunset Park, Darla Miles, Channel.
Now you may be wondering, what could be worse than secret rooms and shady parties? Well, honey, let me introduce you to the island's real moneymaker, a surveillance system that makes the CIA jealous. The streets claim that these cameras have captured enough dirt to bury Hollywood 10 times over. But the real question is where all that footage went. Let's talk about these cameras, because they weren't just there to monitor the palm trees. You know how celebrities always complain about privacy? Well, it seems like privacy was the last thing on this island. The FBI discovered cameras everywhere. I mean, in bedrooms, bathrooms, even by the pool, so that you couldn't scratch your nose without someone recording it. These cameras captured a variety of the disaster we're discussing today. Not only does CPS get caught with their pants down, but there are also videos of politicians making deals that aren't exactly kosher, billionaires acting like they're above the law, and even some royals getting down and dirty in ways that make the queen clutch her pearl. These kinds of things make their publicists have a heart attack, and have them trending for all the wrong reasons. Have you ever seen a star's career go up in flames? What's on these tapes could start a whole forest fire.
From his $48 million Miami mansion to hell on earth where chaos reigns. Just some of the words used to describe the Metropolitan Detention Center where Sean Diddy Combs is now being held without bail after pleading not guilty to sex trafficking and racketeering charges.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to protect his reputation and conceal his conduct.
He is not the first high-profile inmate to pass through these walls. Ghislaine Maxwell, R. Kelly, Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli, and crypto fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried, all as they waited for their federal criminal trials, called this jail home. But the conditions of the prison are far from homey, notoriously described as, quote, dreadful, as one judge put it. Some on the bench have even moved away from sending nonviolent defendants there. And violence is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees. At least 6 staff members charged with crimes in the last 5 years, according to the AP. Some accused of accepting bribes and providing contraband.
I've had clients describe MDC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Lance A. Clark is a federal defense attorney who's been there many times.
Now, if the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
Occupy the streets until they get heat.
In the winter of 2019, protests over a power outage left inmates without light or heat for a week.
However, here is where things get very juicy. The FBI is frantically searching for him, and everyone is wondering who has those recordings and what's on them. Some of these videos have disappeared completely, as if they never happened. That's so bad that someone had to make M disappear. You have to wonder who. Sweating Bullets right now calls, and whoever has those tapes, they're sitting on a goldmine of blackmail material. We're talking about secrets that could bring down governments or the stock market. Now everyone is playing detective. Was Diddy attempting to protect his friends? Or perhaps some of those VIP guests got caught in the act of leaving? Could it be someone on the inside trying to make a lot of money? What if it's even bigger than that? Girl, the possibilities are making my head spin. Everyone was shocked to learn that there might be copies out there because in the digital age, nothing truly goes away. Those tapes could appear anywhere, at any time. Can you imagine waking up one day to find your most private information on the internet? That's the nightmare these SBS are currently living through. But if you think this camera drama is bad, wait, this is only the beginning. The FBI is investigating further, and what they discover will rock Hollywood to its foundation. So grab some popcorn and settle in. This show is far from over.
Understand how cold it must be in those cells, and not to have any electricity, any lights, and to not be able to communicate with your family is just inhumane.
The prison has about 1,200 detainees and is the only federal prison in the nation's largest city. The DOJ shut down New York City's other federal jail, the Metropolitan Correctional Center, back in 2021. 2 years after Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide there. A Bureau of Prisons spokesman telling NBC News they, quote, take seriously addressing the staffing and other challenges at MDC Brooklyn, adding the director appointed an urgent action team and they've increased staffing.
The MDC has historically had tremendous problems, and the problems aren't resolved.
Combs' lawyers originally hoping he could await trial under house arrest at his mansion, now arguing for him to be moved to a prison in New Jersey in the lead up to this trial, citing the prison's poor conditions, violence, and deaths. On Wednesday, his lawyer said he was being held in a special housing unit with an extra level of security.
Yasmin's back with us now. So what is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that?
As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually released to his mansion on $50 million bail, wanting a GPS monitoring system, limited visits from family members, friends, so on and so forth. That is what they're proposing because of course, the violence I talked about in that piece inside these jail walls. They also, in the meantime, Hal, want to get him moved to a jail and/or prison in New Jersey. The judge so far has essentially said that is up to the Bureau of Prisons to make that decision. Nonetheless, it's all going to be on appeals leading up to the trial. His next court appearance, by the way, October 9th. So looking for that, of course, and any decisions coming out from the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on this order.
You thought the camera drama was real. Now, was it juicy? The FBI has been pursuing a money trail so twisted that it makes your grandmother's soap operas seem dull. Hold on to your wig, California, because we're about to reveal the actual story. Remember all those owl-listers living it up on that island? Well, it turns out that their vacation money wasn't exactly coming from their day jobs on this island. Money was pouring like water at Niagara Falls. So, let's speak about Cash Honey, calls the FBI discovered dollar signs everywhere they looked, and when they began looking through those bank statements, it was like opening a Pandora's box of financial chaos. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars. Honey, the kind of money that makes your eyes pop like a cartoon character. But the worst part is that this money wasn't just being used to buy champagne and gold-plated jet skis. They were spending on ads for the latest spring Einstein, which they actually spent 9 months searching for in a search at Chicago Journal-Times. That's it, boys, on the jarring old charts and lazy spy movie. Financial techniques that make Bernie Matt appear like a beginner are allegedly concealed deeper than Marana Trench shell firms, according to the streets.
Out of the latest on the sex trafficking case against hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs, we are learning tonight that additional charges could soon be forthcoming.
So that's according to sources who spoke with Fox 5's Lisa Evers. She joins us now with the exclusive details. Lisa?
Well, Steve and Natasha, multiple sources tell me that a federal grand jury is hearing testimony from new witnesses, including some who are being flown in from out of state. Prosecutors are looking to bring more charges and additional co-defendants to the Sean Diddy Combs. This comes as a judge ruled that an accuser trying to sue Combs cannot remain anonymous. Fox 5 cameras were rolling to catch former Diddy associate Courtney Burgess as he walked with his attorney Ariel Mitchell into federal court to testify before a grand jury, hearing from witnesses about potential new charges. At the October 10th court hearing, lead prosecutor Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson cautioned that the trial timeline could be affected by a superseding indictment. That would make the case wider in scope and more complex, says attorney and former prosecutor Eric Faddis.
So the original indictment that has already been issued lists the charges against Diddy. What the federal government sometimes does when they're continuing their investigation is they'll do a subsequent indictment which is a superseding indictment. It usually amends and replaces the original indictment and adds additional charges.
Combs' defense team has repeatedly stated they want a speedy trial. New charges in a superseding indictment could slow that down.
The trial's scheduled for May 2025, but if there are charges that add a completely new dimension to this case, which I think is reasonably likely, that could cause...
Hold on, however, because it gets worse. The FBI is connecting the dots between the island's bank accounts and various illegal operations, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and other things. It's like every crime show you've ever watched rolled into one big messy ball of scandal. And You know what's got everyone talking? Some of these transactions line up perfectly with those missing tapes we were gossiping about earlier, girl. It's like every time a big chunk of money moves, another tape disappears. By coincidence, I don't believe the rumors that someone has been spending a lot of money to keep those secrets hidden. But this is what's really astounding me. Talking about politicians transferring campaign cash, not simply celebrities seeking to party CEOs are stealing from company accounts, while even international officials are squandering their national funds. It seems as if this island was the most luxurious laundry in the world, cleaning filthy money until it was spotless, according to the FBI. This island was more than just a place for parties. It was a comprehensive operation, honey, where the wealthy and powerful could do as they pleased, spend as they pleased, and conceal everything from the public. However, the curtain is now being pulled back, and what's behind it isn't pretty. And if you think the money is messy, just wait. New you, we haven't even begun discussing the guest list yet. But I promise you that your jaw will drop so hard you'll need a dentist when you hear who is coming to this island. We're just getting started, and the tea is steaming hot.
Apparently the grand jury felt the same way that I felt, because we've learned that Courtney Burgess has been summoned back to testify again next week. So it's a good time to bring in Ariel Mitchell, Courtney Burgess's attorney. You saw her sitting beside Courtney on the air. Hey, it's good to see you again, Ariel. Boy, this is becoming a frequent visit that you and I are having. So talk to me a little bit about Diddy's team's reaction, because man, did they ever... They went to town in those legal filings, and I could see, like, you and me talking throughout the filings. They didn't like it.
They were pretty pissed off, to say the least, very upset. And I would assume you'd be upset when you know the truth is coming out, and the truth is continuing to come out, and somebody like Mr. Burgess is delivering that truth. Mr. Burgess actually told me that he believed that the purpose of that gag order letter that was written by Mark Agnifilo on November 3rd was because Diddy knew that it was Courtney who was bringing this information and said, well, he finally got me where he wants me. So we truly believe that not only Mark Agnifilo, but also Sean Combs is very much so aware that the things that Courtney has talked about and said he witnessed, and the things that were on the flash drives, including the book, as well as the other videos, were definitely of real events and things that had happened. And that is the last thing that Mr. Combs would like out about him, is these factual allegations of things that he has done and that he knows he's done.
I should make note that the book is purported to be Kim Porter's manuscript turned into a book that apparently is on these flash drives. So big question, your client, Courtney Burgess, has been asked to come back on November 12th before the grand jury again. I know he told us it was not a good experience the first time. He felt like they were making him into a criminal. He said he just wanted to help the victims. Why does he have to go back?
Well, we have to finalize the testimony. So I do believe we may be able to waive our appearance in that, where Mr. Burgess might not actually physically have to come back, but there was a rider attached to the subpoena that requested certain documents and videos and evidence that Mr. Burgess had talked about in his interviews prior to the grand jury subpoena, and part of what he was supposed to bring. So they just need to bring that to completion, and that's the purpose for us possibly having to testify further.
Makes sense. So mark your calendar and come on back on the program and let us know what happens next. Ariel Mitchell, I always love having you on. Thank you for this. Appreciate it.
You've probably wondered where the world's most powerful people go when they claim to be on vacation. Well, honey, I have the answer, and it's juicier than a peach. In August, this island wasn't just a tropical paradise, it was a hideaway for the wealthy, famous, and downright shady. And the guest list is going...
You've probably wondered where the world's most powerful people go when they claim to be on vacation? Well, honey, I have the answer, and it's juicier than a peach in August. This island wasn't just a tropical paradise. It was a highway for the wealthy, famous, and downright shady. And the guest list is going to blow your mind. You might think it was all singers and actors enjoying themselves on those white sand beaches, but the FBI obtained a guest list that would make your jaw drop more quickly than a bad karaoke night. We're talking about politicians who claim to be in Washington, billionaires who claim to be working,
Before his arrest, disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was famous for holding his annual 4th of July party in the Hamptons. All of the well-known partygoers wore white, and it wasn't exactly a family-friendly event. Now imagine find yourself a guest there. Allison Hall has more.
Can you believe this 6-year-old boy was once a guest at Diddy's infamous white party? The disgraced mogul has his arm draped around a young Justin Livtowski back in 1999. Justin is now 31 and tells Inside Edition about taking that photo.
He put his arm around me in an uncomfortable way, close to areas that you shouldn't as a grown man.
He recalls what he saw at the party.
So I remember marijuana, and topless women. That's the two main things that I remember.
So, how'd he end up there? Well, his father, David Allen, was Diddy's photographer, snapping pictures of partygoers in the Hamptons. Justin's mom, Maya, was also there. She says the party was family-friendly at first, but then turned raunchy.
People were getting high. There were girls swimming topless, young-looking girls that were, not dressed. We moved to another part of the house so that he wouldn't be exposed to what was going on.
In later years, Diddy implemented a curfew for children.
The kids have like an hour left. So get extra comfortable, but this thing turns into something that when y'all get older, y'all don't want to come to.
I think he's a monster.
This week, Houston-based lawyer Tony Busby says more than 120 people are coming forward with claims.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old. We have one who was 15.
Did Diddy assault you in any way?
When you say assault, I don't know the exact definition, but he put his arm around me in an uncomfortable way.
Diddy is now behind bars facing federal. He denies all.
But here's the real deal that has.
From home and even royalty who claimed to be at some Dole charity event, the streets are claiming that some of these VIPs were doing much more than just working there. What happens on the island stays on the island, or at least it did until the FBI showed up. Tans, I'm hearing rumors of secret meetings in those hidden rooms where we discussed previous deals that made your head spin, and let's not even get started on the after dark activities. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.